Career Seeker Show live on WPPM FM 106.5 Philadelphia. I'm your host and the world's #1 diversity recruiter, Kenneth L. Johnson, and I've been waiting a long time to bring you the Career Seekers team. Tiffany Sutherland, career coach. Alberta Bertolino, recruitment coach. Videographer Will Martin, and together we are your #1 source for career and job search information. We'll be back after the break.
The Career Seekers Show on WPPM FM Philadelphia. Insightful advice for those seeking more than just a job, but a career from the nation's top leaders. Whether you're starting your career, changing careers, or looking for that next great opportunity, the Career Seeker Show provides a virtual GPS that delivers real career advice that leads you to your career destination.
It's the Career Seeker Show live on WPPM LP 106.5 Philadelphia.
Welcome back, Seekers.
Alberta Bertolino is in the building. Tiff South is not here with us. We told you she would be on a month-long hiatus.
So
but we got you. We got you. Don't worry. Actually, Will Martin is not with us either today because he is out doing what he does. We're going to leave that subject alone. We have an unbelievable show today, but I want to just speak to everybody about what we're doing right here. Today is going to be incredible. We have on the show today with us Kahiga Tiagha.
That's right.
We have Jody Brockington,
right.
Lifestyle expert Jody Brockington. She'll be a new member of the team. Actually, she'll be speaking career and health.
Can't wait. I heard you're going to be doing a monthly segment. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. So we'll bring Jody on at the second half of the show. We are going to spend some time with Kahiga at first, but AB, I want to speak to you. What's going on?
Week has been great, but I got to say today, oh my gosh, I was working on these business development roles.
Okay.
I was told they're about to be canceled. I found these 4 great candidates, and they're bringing them all back for a second interview.
Really?
I mean, that is great in the world of recruitment.
So what am I hearing? The candidates were so good that they reconsidered
canceling the role, and they're going to choose one of them eventually. And one of those is the woman that I met, or that we met at the National Urban League Conference in St. Louis.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
If we can get her on board, that'd be awesome.
That is what we do. That's incredible.
But wait, family reunion, how did it go?
So you know what? Let's speak about the family reunion a little. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
I actually won. I accepted. No, but I guess this is practice for when we try to secure this Cammy Award, because I received an award for having a radio show at the family reunion. So I had to get up and do an acceptance speech, and then everybody else that got up after me, I told them to make sure they mentioned the Career Seeker Show. So we had a lot of fun. It was a blast. We were out in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. My family just so supportive and just speaking about the show and saying that they tuned into the show. If y'all are tuning in right now, we do this every Wednesday from 4 to 5 live on WPPM LP 106.5 Philadelphia. Also streaming live at phillycam.org. And we do this also on the East Coast Executives Facebook fan page. I will have some additional information because Alberta, go ahead, chime in.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, so we're also streaming live on the Item Philly Facebook page. So
and that's because Kahiga is in the building, so we have to stream live on the Item.
We do.
We're going to speak a little bit about Kahiga. You know, AB, I'm really excited. Again, Jody has came up from Manhattan. She is the Manhattan move maker. So I'm just so thrilled to have her. And then on top of that, I'll be back in New York. Are you joining me Friday?
I can't. You know what? I have a meeting about putting together. So there's a water training division down at Fort Lee, Virginia, where we have a meeting about how we can partner.
Gotcha.
So.
You know, Will was supposed to be joining us.
Oh, you'll be away.
Yes. Will was supposed to be joining us, but we don't know if he's going to be back in Miami. We really
I
don't know.
Come back. I don't
you
know.
never know. So I know who is going to be joining us on Friday. We have the likes of Aetna, Simon Schuster, Merck, Manhattan College, Penguin Random House, Dell Computers, CBS, Scholastic, Revolt TV, hopefully Harlem Hospital, Getting Hired, and the National Urban League, all in one building, all there to do mock interviews and help career seekers. It is going to be an incredible event at WeWork Harlem, 126th and 5th. Yeah, first time I ever walked into a WeWork facility was to support you and what you were doing, Kahiga. So thank you so very much for enlightening me to what they do. That building up at 126 is outstanding. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm overly excited. I'm East Coast executive heavy right now, so it's going to be incredible. Just one of those things. Yeah. So speaking of one of those things, we have a special guest here today. Because you work so closely with this gentleman, I'd like to give you the opportunity to introduce him to our listeners. Please, introduce.
Absolutely. Kahiga Tiagha, and I won't reveal your middle name.
That's right.
I've known Kahiga a long time.
Nice.
Late 90s. Show our ages. Right? Yeah. I would follow this man anywhere. You are just so brilliant. I can't wait till you share what we're doing with the item and what you're doing mostly.
No.
And I'm honored and humbled. Transparency, I am the board chair for the item, which is the Inclusive Technology Entrepreneur Movement.
I was going to ask you exactly what that stood for. Yeah.
And Kahiga, you can talk a little bit more about your background, or why don't you talk about the item first?
Sure. So again, it's a pleasure to be on here. I've been following you guys on Facebook, and to be in studio, the chemistry and all that, it feels really good.
We've been trying to get you here for like 6 months now. The show was 8 months old. We've been trying to get you here for 7 months.
So I appreciate being on, and thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about the item. AB, it's been a long time, so it's really a pleasure to be here. So, as you know, the item stands for the Inclusive Technology and Entrepreneurship Movement. We were created as a meetup February 17th of 2015. And essentially, we were created as a response to noticing that the Philadelphia technology scene was galvanizing pretty purposefully. But the representation of that tech community did not necessarily reflect the way Philadelphia is. As you know, we're a majority minority city, which means that, there's reflective of what America is going to be looking like in 2040, 2050, but the tech scene is more reflective of what you would expect in Silicon Valley. And just to kind of, be explicit about what I'm talking about, it's just dominated by young white men. And so if we know that the tech sector is growing exponentially and that there's a need for talent, and Philadelphia, being a large city, is challenged by poverty and unemployment issues, how can we make those two worlds sort of come together?
Right.
And the item was born in trying to be at least one solution towards those twin problems and the opportunity in the tech sector.
Right. And how many members now does the meetup have?
Yeah, so we just tipped over 1,100 members, and so over the last 30 months, and that to us anyway is evidence that the item was needed as part of the technology scene to make sure that, where if you were previously looking for a place to network, to do some resource mapping, or to pick up a skill, or to get some leads on jobs, if you didn't find it elsewhere in the meetup community or elsewhere in the Philadelphia community, certainly item has been providing a home for those people.
Right.
And we're pretty excited that we're now adding more and more programs as we go along based on what our members are looking for.
And it's been great to see that growth of the membership, but then also to see different people come each month, because talk a little bit about that. Each month is a different theme.
Yes. So we, as an evolution of our programming, we realized that we couldn't just be advocates for people getting involved in technology, no matter how attractive a sector it was. We also had to create career pathways for them to actually join the sector. So in addition to providing a place for network and to advocate, we created a program, the Item Academy, where people get educated. We have a program after you get educated, you need a job. So we have the Item Resources to help you get a job.
Sure.
And then for those who don't want to work for the man, you have the Item Ventures, as a kind of a consultancy to help people who are running technology or technology-enabled companies to access either professional services, resources, or capital of some kind.
I'm becoming, just ever since I met you, I became a fan, just and listening to some of the things that Alberta has shared with me about the things that you're involved in and your accomplishments. And I believe it was a few nights ago, I really had to had a chance to take a look at your LinkedIn profile.
Oh, sure. We're just talking about that.
I was extremely impressed. Well, it was interesting because I noticed you were a director for like a mental health facility.
Absolutely.
So I'm just wondering, we speak a lot today about people making career pivots.
Sure.
And now a lot of your conversation is so tech heavy.
Yep.
And I understand there's still that social component of it.
Yep.
But how'd you make the transition from that role, and then you're an attorney. I'm like, wow, this guy's incredible.
Yeah, that's right. So I thank you very much, by the way, and I'm very interested in what Jody has to say because of that mental health component and wellness, because it's an issue very near and dear to my heart. So specific to the mental health side of things, I was on the board of directors of the Mental Health Association for Southeastern Pennsylvania, which is an advocacy organization and quite innovative in terms of how we provide solutions for people who are struggling with mental health issues. But just walking it back a little bit, I'm trained as an attorney, and actually that's how I met Alberta. She recruited me to the firm.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you said that? No, here.
Yeah,
I recruited him here.
Yeah, recruited me
as
here.
As a young lawyer.
People don't understand that these relationships you develop and create through the process of recruiting and talent acquisition. Like I speak to people, like I have close friends that I placed 20 years ago. I met them through placing them. There's one that she works for Coca-Cola in Atlanta, but I placed her at Vanguard, I want to say in 2000.
Wow.
And we're close. We talk every other week probably, but it's based on the fact that I placed her like 17, 18 years ago. That's incredible, man. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. What a story.
And in fact, he blames me for why he stayed.
That's exactly right. No, Avi is one of my besties, and we've been really, she's seen me grow as a professional, right? So it's been a close relationship. But really, I was at a big law firm, had the entrepreneurial bug, so went out on my own for 10 years. But the main theme throughout my career has always been giving back. So if you track it back to high school and to college, I'd always been giving back one way. So doing the item is really just a more committed expression of that giving back, in the sense that in recognizing what opportunity the technology sector represents and recognizing that the pie has not yet been baked. So before it gets baked and we're coming to the table asking for a piece of the pie that's already been divided, let's be at the table while the ingredients are being put in the pie. And so, honestly, there were a group of us who were beginning to initiate the item, and everybody's got to make a living. So there wasn't a dedication, and I just said this is important enough for me to kind of invest full time, and that's how we really ended up kind of growing this thing.
Incredible.
Yeah,
so
that says a lot about Alberta as well, because I met her through work.
Okay.
Pretty much, and when this opportunity came to put the Career Seekers team together, it just so happened she was helping me do a mock interview session.
Gotcha.
And the session was over. I tell the story all the time. Alberta broke the record for interviewing a person. She interviewed a person for 2 hours.
It wasn't. This story, it gets longer every time.
She interviewed a person for 2 hours. There were people standing outside of the office she was in waiting to get in. They couldn't get in. So after the interview, everybody had left, and I was sitting out talking with Alberta in the lobby.
Yeah, we were just waiting for traffic.
And I said, you want to be on a radio show and get out of the project and work? Because all our conversations were always so great and just so productive and intuitive. So I just wanted to make her a part of this process, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made in quite some time.
Right. And it also talks a little bit about just kind of how you have to network as well.
Yes.
It's not just about the initial, it's about kind of maintaining that relationship, especially with people who you get along with.
Sure.
Because it's easy to stay in touch, and ultimately they might be quite helpful for you along the way. I mean, she's on the board of directors and charities. That's
and networking to help others.
That's exactly right.
Putting more batteries in the backpack to help some other people.
But let me say something about Kahiga has actually stepped up. He just doesn't bring these programs to people. He's actually now certified in AWS.
That's right.
I am so proud of you. I think it's so awesome. It's not an easy test.
No, not at all. So
well, you look at his background, I'm not surprised. he can handle
it. But that's kind of a little bit of what we're fighting against, right? Because people are saying, of course you passed because you're an attorney. And I'm like, no. So luckily, somebody else has gone through our training and has passed the certification just earlier last week as well. And she is trained as a visual arts and is right now sort of in the personal care industry. So just to kind of show that regardless of your background and regardless of your technology aptitude, the way we instruct is very hands-on, and we believe it gets you to the certification.
So for our listeners, can you explain a little more about that certification actually?
Yeah, I no. But so eventually, when I go through I will. Yeah, it's on my plate. So go ahead.
So we've been banging the drum about AWS, which stands for Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services is essentially a cloud solution provider for businesses to host their business in the cloud, so that they can reduce the expenses on all these machines that we see around us, and really just focus on deploying their business. So it's AWS has the largest market share right now. Their certifications were the top ranked certifications of 2016, with starting salaries at around $125,000.
Nice.
And this year it's dropped down to number 3, but still same starting salary. And we were advised by senior engineers in our group that everybody talks about getting into tech by coding, right? And coding has become the shorthand. But coding, at least we analogize, is like the equivalent of learning your first foreign language being Japanese. Extremely difficult to do. But you also, if you're pivoting fields, want to develop a skill that's substantive enough. So we looked at kind of the enterprise level. So we looked at Salesforce, we looked at SAP, but we found that AWS specifically and cloud computing gave new techies a broad enough platform for them to make informed decisions down the line.
Okay.
But because that certification is offered by AWS, it also validates the fact that we're providing the instruction for people to go on and get those jobs. So now there are a few of us who are interviewing for positions, and hopefully we have some good news. Yeah, soon enough. Yeah.
Really?
That's right. I mean, this was just in October last year when we started this, so it's been pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We've trained 13 people so far. We have another 7 signed up for our September course. So it's it's going on.
Exceptional. Listen, I'm checking in on our Facebook Live feed, and you know what? Shout out to Scott McGlee, Pierre Gomez. I see they're going back and forth. Gomez wants us to get some Major League Baseball people on. He's a former MLB.
He said Philly's HR is listening.
No, and actually, Gomez, to be completely honest with you, we have a connection with a gentleman named Kenneth Johnson. He's supposed to be coming on the show, and we just went back and forth. So they've been really supportive. Needless to say, we do have a relationship with the people at the Diverse Business Partners Program at the league offices. And, you know, you did reference, he actually did reference Tyrone Brooks, the former Maryland Terrapin. Well, once you're a Maryland Terrapin, you're always a Maryland Terrapin. So, so we got a couple people checking in on the Facebook live stream. I know you guys are live streaming as well on the Item Facebook page.
Yeah.
That is great.
Anything popping up on there for any questions or
anything? We do it every Wednesday here at WPPM LP 106.5 in Philly, live from the Philly Cam studios. We broadcast at phillycam.org. This is what we do. Hit us up on the at US Career Seekers Twitter page, at Alberta Recruits on Twitter, at Tiff South. She's not here, but she'll probably check in as well. Hit her up anyway. And at KL Johnson Info. This is what we do. We do it every Wednesday. AB, we got Kahiga in the building.
I know.
I want to speak a little more about this event that I hear happens every third Tuesday at the Item. Am I right?
Yeah, Absolutely. But we even have a more exciting event.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So, go ahead. No.
And so you and I, Kenneth, have talked a little bit about this kind of reverse job fair, right? Sure. Candidates go to job fairs, employers go to job fairs, and everybody walks out. A lot of times they're not the one that's coming up for you in Harlem. No, that's not. I'm not. That one's going to be good.
It's a mock interview workshop, so it's a little different than the job fair. But I've been speaking with. I had a conversation with. You know what? It's so incredible when you are in a car next to someone that constantly thinks of ideas. So driving over here with Jody, like 4 or 5 blocks, she's like. I mentioned something to her, and she's like, well, you should do this with that. And, like, laid out a whole platform for it. So, yeah, I get it. I get it.
So, talking about reverse, meaning the candidates will be at the table, and the employers have to come around and talk to them. So Kahiga and I were having brunch one day, and then Kahiga he already had this in his mind anyway, but there really wasn't a name around it, right? Mm-hmm. So he really just, the vision, and I'll let you talk about, because it's just... We have so many passionate people around what's going to happen.
Absolutely, and it's going to be kind of a seminal moment for the Item in terms of, so we're trying to provide this continuum of once you've pivoted into technology, how do you get a job? And as a new techie myself, having learned this skill and beginning to look for opportunities, the catch-22 is that, yes, you have the skill, but employers want you to have experience. But then how do you get experience if you're new in the field? So there are, what I do at night is I build programs. It sounds, now saying it out loud sounds kind of weird.
Where's Tiffany? She's our techie.
Is that right? Okay,
she
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tiffany would get it.
Where's she?
He is in his seat right now.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
Maybe
so
it's the
it's
seat.
channel.
All right, I want.
It's the tech seat over there.
That's right. So you're working hard trying to learn your craft, and people are not necessarily witness to how you're growing with the skill that you picked up. So what we're trying to do is for those hard workers out there who are growing their confidence about building their skill, come in front of employers who are looking obviously to hire, but are also inclined to support a diverse and inclusive initiative, because as you guys know, that is such a topical issue right now and has been for the last 2 years, but it's certainly spiked over the last 2 months with what's happening obviously at the big, Uber and Google. And so if we are only going to defer to the large corporations, I think we're probably going to have more of the same. So I think why not apply a well-used word in this context, which is disruptive, and try to come at it a little bit differently, not only in terms of providing candidates opportunities, but also making sure that employers have a forum to have a conversation around diversity and inclusion.
And give the candidates an opportunity to really showcase their skills, because titles could be different. You could say you do a certain particular thing, but no, I'm the employer, show me.
Right.
That's right.
And so it's not just going to be recruiters, it's got to be the people. So I don't speak technology, so I would be the wrong person to attend on behalf of my company. So we're drawing in people who actually speak tech, have an open position.
That's right.
And is going to come up to that candidate and say, all right, show me this. What project are you working on? I don't even know what word.
No, but that's exactly what. That's
it, right? Exactly. And we had the conversation, AB, just about. I think you may have asked me, like, do you recruit tech?
Yeah.
And I said,
yes,
I made a mistake when the tech thing started gaining momentum, as far as recruitment was concerned.
Yeah.
I looked at a couple of the position descriptions and said, what in the world is this?
That's exactly
I didn't
what I
understand
did.
it. Yeah, so I pushed it off to the side, and then people would call me, and I would farm it out. I had some tech recruiters that I knew personally. A lot of them were through BDPA. Mike Trent, when he was doing it over there, and I would just pass it along, and we'd do some splits or things of that nature. But I just didn't understand it, but I really wish I would have jumped in.
It's never too late, man. We're there right now, so let's talk about that.
You have a good point.
Yeah,
it's never too late.
Yeah. I did the same thing though, Kenneth. Yeah, I would cover for people, but then we would always have a particular IT recruiter in corporate world, and that's what we have now at the company that I'm with.
I think you and I should jump in and start Bertolino and Johnson. We'll be recruiters in the tech space.
How about AB and Johnson?
AB and Johnson? Okay, that works for me.
You don't have to shift that much. I was going to say, you don't have to shift that much. Most of the companies you're already working for that's the problem, that a lot of people don't know that Walmart has a great tech, has billions of tech jobs. It's just, where are they?
Right.
They're more based out of their DC office versus, although they have their own radio and TV show hosting at a Walmart in Bentonville. You don't know, that's the problem. Is I think you guys would be great translators as to which companies, corporate-wise, really do have these cool tech jobs for the next generation.
Well, we're just going to turn Jody's mic on.
I know, right?
I can't know. What's that mic number over there? Can you see that number? What is that mic number right there?
Or you want the other one that's on there?
Yeah, wherever you want. We're gonna get. We're bringing Jody.
That was a big point. Because I
Where do you want to sit?
people think about tech as in young and agile and all that, but the large corporations have thousands and thousands of jobs out there, and are looking for people to staff those jobs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Outstanding.
But so it's going to be on Thursday, October 26th
Correct.
of this year. 2 to 6 is the timing that we're looking at.
That's
we are in the process of procuring a location, but how many employers? How many employers are we looking for?
Right. So we are right now at around 10 employers have expressed interest. We are hoping to get 25 to 50 positions available. So hopefully, whether an employer, a single employer can offer all those positions as in the varying skills.
Yeah.
But what we're looking to do, in addition to having that reverse, the job skill showcase, is also to make sure that we're having a conversation around diversity and inclusion.
And which definitely needed.
Absolutely, and making sure that, again, we're not ceding the conversation. But part of what, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show, is it's also making sure that our candidates are well screened, so they're picking up skills along the way.
Absolutely.
And Jody mentioned that one of the most overlooked tools, apparently, that a lot of new candidates don't do is the LinkedIn profiles, which is something that I just got hip to a little while ago. And I think this should be a process not only to educate the candidates who are going through, but also making sure that employers get qualified for candidates.
We keep talking about doing something on the show about that. Maybe you want to do a workshop with me with them?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely would do that. I was doing career coaching at an event that Jody and I were at out in St. Louis for the National Urban League Networking and Career Fair. And I was shocked at the amount of people that came through, and they were familiar with LinkedIn and had a profile, but they give no attention to that profile.
Right,
Said,
yeah.
I set a profile up a while ago, but there's nothing really there. I don't have anything on it. And I'm like, well, people are still looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather you not have it than for me to go and see nothing.
Yeah.
Because then I know you're not taking it seriously.
Correct.
And I may not take you serious as a candidate, because as you had mentioned, as soon as we get the information or the name of a candidate, the first thing we do is Google search and LinkedIn search.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to look to see who you are on LinkedIn, and that has to jive with the resume that's in front of me as well.
Yeah.
But if you're just not showing a presence on LinkedIn, you run the risk of being excluded from an opportunity.
And I was going to ask the question to the recruiters, which is, I think it needs to be conveyed how much weight is being put on LinkedIn, right? Because I think people think about it as one more piece of real estate online, as opposed to one of the central pegs you need to have as part of your professional profile. And I was hip to it early, but it's a function of being in a very formal industry, which is the law. But I think a lot of people don't attribute the same kind of value as corporate types.
Sure.
I agree.
I definitely agree.
And I think it's also level of work.
Right.
Like, so depending on the market you're in, St. Louis is not New York, it's not Philly, right? But LA, that's the showcase town, right? So, but also they're looking deeper now. Like, LinkedIn was definitely just kind of like a managerial and above.
Right.
But now, even if you're going for, day jobs and part-time work and healthcare, jobs that were not perceived as professional. Not that they weren't professional, but weren't LinkedIn-able.
Or maybe non-exempt hourly.
Right.
jobs
Are
didn't
now,
necessarily-
they're still looking for you there. They're not
Yeah.
looking for you
Yeah.
elsewhere.
But can you give a sense of how much it weighs? Like, if it doesn't jive with the resume, do you kick the person off? Or, I mean, what happens
if
in
it
that
doesn't, if the resume and the LinkedIn profile aren't matching, you're definitely not going to be a candidate. Now, I recruit.
I don't know about that.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Yeah,
As a third-party recruiter, I can't run the risk of you not
You
being
can,
who you
right,
said you
but
were.
I
Right,
can.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Since I'm
there's a
corporate
different, right,
recruiter,
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And the person, for instance, the other day, I was on LinkedIn with one of my hiring managers. We were both looking at it, and there's a candidate that looked great, his resume. So I said, let me look him up on LinkedIn, see if I can find anything more. His LinkedIn wasn't updated. He's got the certifications in our industry that I need. So he's still going to be considered.
So that's a little different. Like,
Yeah.
all right, people may not have updated, but if you're completely omitting pieces of your career for
Oh,
one
if you
reason
lie,
or another, right?
it
Or
looks
if you're
like
lying,
right,
that's what I was
yes,
referring
yes.
to. Yeah, I understand if you haven't updated.
Yes.
And as a recruiter, I may just call and say, hey, look, before we get you in this cycle, you need to update this profile, because the hiring managers may come through and look.
Exactly.
As
Yeah.
well, right,
They
exactly,
do. Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And I was very happy to see LinkedIn put back some functionality now that you can move. They shut it down for a second where you couldn't move chronologically. So, for instance, my item boardship was all the way at the bottom, so which it was out of order. So I was able to now move it back up, and So.
Well, outstanding. So Kahiga, if you don't mind, how do you suggest the career seeker listeners connect with you? I'd like for you to stick around for the second segment of the show, but I definitely would like for you to let the career seeker listeners know how they can get in touch with you and or the item.
Right. So it's there are legion behind me, so it's definitely the item. So to reach out to us for any questions, just email us please at theitemphilly@gmail.com. I will get right back to you within 24 hours. To find out a little bit more about what we do on a monthly basis, visit us at meetup.com/theitem. So that's THEITEM. But the really big thing that we want you to take a look at is the upcoming the job skills effort, and that is Inclusion Hack. So Inclusion, INCLUSION, hack, HACK.com. It's up and running, it's in beta form, all done by ITEM members, so we're pretty proud of that effort.
Beautiful. It's the Career Seeker Show live on WPPMLP 106.5 Philadelphia. We'll be back after the break with the one, the only, Jody Brockington. Kahiga has agreed to stick around. Let's do it. You come back.
Yeah, but the reason why I made that point is that people were really surprised in St. Louis of which companies, like Prudential, not Prudential, Nationwide was totally looking for Six Sigma.
Yeah,
Like everybody needs technology because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm saying so you guys are even better gatekeepers of knowing also
your skills.
someone who knows IBM. Basically like versus those who learn. Versus
I just don't speak technology. That's the thing. Like I can. So I. Right. No, I'm saying it's not something that you have to speak it. It's more so that people